If you could go back to that day in 2014, do you wish you'd done anything differently?
Went to another show.
It's been 8 years since Curtis Reeves' argument with Chad Oulson over texting in a Florida movie theater escalated into a fatal shooting.
911, what is the address of emergency?
So there's been a gunshot at the Cobb Theater.
Do you know who shot him?
I don't know. It looks like an older gentleman in the movie theater.
Reeves was that older man, a retired police captain and SWAT commander. He shot and killed 43-year-old Chad Oulson during a matinee of Lone Survivor at the Cobb Theater near Tampa.
Do you wish you'd left your gun at home?
Had I left my gun at home, there's a good chance that I wouldn't be here today.
8 years later, after multiple appeals and delays, Reeves was tried for second-degree murder and aggravated assault and acquitted on both counts.
It lifted a load off of each one of our hearts, and it was certainly impactful for us and unfortunately sad for others.
Reeves was acquitted on the grounds of self-defense. The controversial verdict once again igniting a debate over self-defense and use of deadly force in the state of Florida. Now, the 79-year-old is speaking out about why he pulled the trigger.
There will be people watching this at home saying you shot Chad Oulson because he threw popcorn in your face. Your response to that?
Well, I think that the experts have proved that that if you look at the timing here, it was pretty much physically impossible for me to draw a weapon and to fire the weapon between the time I got hit in the face with the popcorn on the video and when the shooting actually happened. If I remember correctly, it was less than a second, and that decision was made when he reached for me, not when he grabbed the popcorn.
With all your experience in law enforcement, do you feel that was the only decision you could have made at that point?
No question whatsoever. I've never been faced with someone that far out of control or that much rage at one particular time, and with the explosive behavior, both verbally and physically, it was absolutely no alternative to that.
Curtis and his attorneys emphasizing that an attack on someone over age 65 is considered a felony in Florida.
Chad Oulson, he should have known that as a 43-year-old man attacking a 71-year-old man, that he could cause serious, great bodily harm or death. I think the message out there to the community should be, so we shouldn't be attacking, certainly the elderly, because that attack may result in that person dying.
Curtis Reeves was acquitted on the grounds that Chad Oulson was presenting himself with some sort of dangerous force, deadly force that could have risen to the level of serious physical injury, and that granted Curtis Reeves the ability to use deadly force in shooting him one time in the chest.
The altercation started when Reeves asked Oulson to get off his phone during previews. Oulson's widow says her husband was using the phone to check on their toddler, who was with the babysitter.
I simply asked a gentleman to turn his phone down. I was not rude or anything. It was simply a request. And from that, it just kind of escalated.
After getting up to complain to a manager, Reeves returned to his seat, but the argument continued.
At that point, I was looking at the previews, and then suddenly, out of the corner of my eye, he's on his feet, and I got hit in the face.
Prosecutors contend he was hit in the face with a bag of popcorn. As we see in this surveillance video, Oulson stood up, then threw the popcorn. Reeves claimed that Oulson also threw a phone at him, something witnesses have disputed. He says he wasn't aware of the popcorn being thrown until after the shooting.
You got hit in the face.
Correct.
You couldn't tell what it was at the time?
There was something that flashed in front of my face, and at the same time, my vision kind of went blurry. So I really didn't understand that until later on. Then I understood that my glasses had been knocked partially off.
And is that the point where you pulled your gun?
I think that, I don't know exactly what point it was. I think once I realized that he was not going to stop. For 48 years, I've carried a firearm, either on duty as law enforcement or as retired, with all the proper credentials. I had nowhere else to go, no way to get away, as at that point is when I went for the weapon.
Reeves shot Oulson with his .380 caliber handgun, hitting him in the chest. The bullet also striking his now widowed wife, Nicole.
The gunshot wound will heal. You know, it's a finger. The real pain is in my heart.
The Oulson's lawyer recently told ABC affiliate WFTS that Nicole's recollection of that day is still crystal clear.
Curtis Reeves should have de-escalated the situation, but instead all he did was make things worse and continued to make things worse even after leaving the theater and coming back when it was basically done, and decided to shoot someone over popcorn.
And yesterday, Oulson's wife telling ABC News, "For 8 long years, I had to wait and try and fight for justice. Even though the jury got it wrong, I will not just accept this result lying down. Chad may be gone, but he will never be forgotten, and I will use my voice to try and make sure no one has to experience what myself and my family had to go through." Reeves has been under house arrest for most of the past 8 years. In 2017, a judge ruled Reeves could not claim defense under Florida's controversial Stand Your Ground law, but his attorneys were still able to claim self-defense at trial.
Florida just has a strong and rich culture of self-defense, and that's what's really permeated through the case here.
Reeves' wife, Vivian, who was sitting next to him in the theater, urged her husband to move seats earlier in the altercation, but he refused.
People testified that you were trying to de-escalate the situation in the movie theater that day, suggesting you should move seats. Looking back on it, do you wish you had moved to another row,
yes.
another section of the theater?
I do.
Why not just move away?
I think that it escalated to the point too rapidly for me to make that decision.
You could have moved before going to speak with the manager, after speaking with the manager. At any one of those points, you could have switched seats.
Okay, and at that point, he was not a threat. I saw no need to move. He didn't become a threat until he actually attacked. Before that, he was just a guy.
He took the appropriate steps in going to tell the management. When he sat back down, at that point, it was a point of attack.
And now it's been 8 long years. Your husband's been acquitted. Any kind of message you might have for the Oulson family here?
I'm very sorry for what happened. I have prayed for the Oulson family, and she's a young woman, and I sincerely hope that she finds someone else to share her life and to be a good father to her child. I hope she gets on with her life and is happy.
I wish that none of this would have happened at all. But I don't feel like an instigator. I'm just a person that went to a theater with my wife to enjoy a movie, and that's all I intended.
Have you had any contact at all with Chad Oulson's family?
No, I have not.
Do you have any kind of message for them?
I feel the same sadness for them that I feel for my family. It shouldn't have happened. It didn't need to happen. It was something that I had no control over. He's the only one that could have kept it from happening. I'm sure on both sides of the families, none of us wish it had happened like it did.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.